You already know something is wrong. You feel it in the way you start your mornings. You feel it in the guilt that sits on your chest like a stone before you even get out of bed. You feel it in the distance between who you are right now and who you were supposed to become. And the terrifying part is not that you have a weakness. Every man does. The terrifying part is that you have been feeding it every single day without realizing it is eating your future alive. What if the thing stealing your confidence, your focus, your ambition, and your self-respect is not an outside enemy? What if it is something you return to willingly in your weakest moments, believing it costs you nothing? What if the chain around your potential is one you put on yourself? This is not a lecture. This is not a list of tips. This is the truth about one of the most powerful and most silently destructive forces inside the human mind. By the time this is over, you are going to understand something that most men never figure out in their entire lives. Because here is the thing nobody tells you. Lust is not just a feeling. It is a system. A perfectly engineered trap designed to keep you weak, distracted, and controllable. And if you do not understand how that system works, you will never be free of it. Think about Sung Jin Woo, not the invincible shadow monarch at the end of his journey. Think about who he was at the beginning. Weak, dismissed, left behind. He was given nothing. No power, no status, no guarantee of survival. The world looked at him and saw someone who did not matter. But somewhere inside him, a decision was made. Not a dramatic one, not a speech, just a quiet, unshakable refusal to remain what he was. And from that moment forward, every single level he climbed demanded something from him. Every gate he entered required him to leave something behind. That is the part of his story that relates to you. Not the Shadow Army, not the titles, the cost. The quiet, painful daily cost of becoming someone stronger. And what you are about to learn is that the first monster you have to defeat does not live in a dungeon. It lives in your own mind. Let me explain how this trap was built, because this is where it gets psychologically interesting. Your brain has a reward system. It releases a chemical called dopamine. And dopamine is not about pleasure. People get this wrong constantly. Dopamine is about anticipation. It is the feeling of chasing something. Your brain is not designed to reward you for what you have. It is designed to push you toward what you want. And millions of years of evolution made that system incredibly powerful when it comes to reproduction and desire. Here is the problem. The modern world discovered this vulnerability and built an entire industry around it. What was once a natural drive connected to real human relationships and real effort has been weaponized into a content pipeline that delivers an infinite supply of artificial stimulation directly to your brain. No effort, no connection, no cost. Just the trigger, repeated endlessly, escalating in intensity over time. And your brain cannot tell the difference. Every time you give in, your brain registers a hit. Dopamine spikes. The pathway gets reinforced. The next time the craving comes, it comes harder. The threshold rises. What satisfied you before barely registers now. So the pull gets stronger. The content escalates. And all the while, your brain is slowly, quietly rewiring itself around that one source of stimulation. This is not weakness. This is neuroscience. But understanding it does not make you immune. It just tells you what you are actually fighting. Because here is what nobody talks about. The damage is not just physical. It is not just about the time you lose. The deepest damage is to your identity. Every time you give in to lust on demand, you send yourself a message. You might not hear it consciously, but your subconscious is listening to every single choice you make. And the message it hears when you choose the cheap hit over your own discipline is this: I cannot control myself. I am someone who gives in. I am someone who is ruled by what I feel rather than what I have decided. And when that message gets sent enough times, it becomes a belief, not an explicit one, not something you would say out loud, but a deep, quiet, foundational belief that shapes everything. How you walk into a room, how you speak to people you respect, how you feel when you look at yourself, how much ambition you allow yourself to feel, because somewhere underneath it all, you do not fully trust yourself to follow through. This is where lust becomes something bigger than a bad habit. It becomes the invisible ceiling on everything you try to build. Think about the men you respect most, the ones who move through life with that quiet confidence, the ones who speak and people lean in, the ones who make decisions and follow through. What is the difference between them and someone who feels trapped? Do you think it is intelligence? Looks? Luck? It is not. The difference, at the core, is self-mastery. The ability to feel a pull and choose something else. The ability to face discomfort and not flinch. That is the foundation everything else is built on. And Sung Jin-woo understood this before he ever became powerful. He could not skip the levels. Nobody can. Every stat had to be earned. Every skill was a product of consistent, unglamorous discipline in gates nobody was watching. There was no cheat code. There was no shortcut. There was only the decision made again and again to do the hard thing when the easy option was right in front of him. That is the method, and it starts with something most people completely skip. You have to understand what you are actually craving. This is where the psychology gets deep, because lust rarely exists in isolation. When you trace it back, really trace it back, it almost always connects to something else. Loneliness, anxiety, boredom. A need for stimulation when life feels flat. A need for escape when reality feels heavy. A need to feel something when you have been numb for too long. The lust is not the root. It is the symptom. And if you only fight the symptom without understanding the root, you will lose every time. You will white-knuckle your way through a few days, feel proud, and then hit a moment of stress or loneliness or boredom and fall straight back into it. And the fall feels worse because the expectation was higher. So the first move is not suppression. The first move is honesty. When the craving hits, and it will hit, you ask a different question. Not how do I make this go away, but what is this craving actually about right now? What am I actually feeling underneath this? Because in that gap between the craving and the choice, there is something important to understand about yourself. This is not therapy speak. This is tactical self-awareness. Sung Jin-woo did not enter every gate blind. He assessed, he observed, he understood the terrain before he moved. That is the same skill applied to your inner world. Know the battlefield. Know what actually triggers you. Know the emotional state that makes you most vulnerable. Because once you know it, you can see it coming. And here is where the real battle begins. Most people think defeating lust is about saying no. It is not. Saying no to a craving without replacing it with something is like trying to hold a dam closed with your hands. The pressure builds. Eventually something gives. The real strategy is substitution and elevation. When the pull comes, you do not try to eliminate the energy, you redirect it. Hard physical training. Creative work, study, building something, pursuing something that actually challenges you. Your nervous system is wired to seek stimulation. The question is where you point that hunger. This is not just motivational language. This is biological reality. The dopamine system that lust hijacks is the same system that fuels ambition, creativity, and drive. When you starve one channel, you can feed another, but it has to be real. It has to actually challenge you. It has to cost you something. Because your brain is not fooled by passive content consumption dressed up as productivity. It knows the difference between genuine effort and comfortable distraction. Sung Jin Woo leveled up because every gate was a real challenge. He was not pretending to train. He was not going through the motions. He was pushing past what he thought he was capable of, again and again, until his ceiling became his floor. That is the model. Real challenge, real discomfort, real growth. Repeated long enough that the person who used to give in becomes someone who genuinely does not recognize that version of himself anymore. But here is what nobody tells you about this process. The first week is not the hardest part. The first few days, adrenaline carries you. Purpose carries you. The feeling of finally doing something about it carries you. The hardest part comes around day 10 or day 12 or day 20. When the novelty has faded. When the initial momentum has flattened out. When your brain has not yet rewired and the old pathways are still loud and the new sense of identity has not fully solidified yet. This is the most dangerous moment, because in that moment, the voice comes. You know the voice. It sounds like reason. It sounds like you. It says things like, you have already done well. One time will not matter. You deserve a break. This is not a big deal. And if you have not been warned about this voice, it is incredibly convincing. This is not your authentic self-speaking. This is the pattern fighting for survival. Every system, biological or psychological, resists change. The addiction does not just sit quietly and accept that you are leaving. It argues. It negotiates. It waits for your weakest moment and then it speaks in your own voice. The way through this is not willpower. Willpower is a finite resource and it depletes. The way through this is identity. This is the most important shift you will make. Stop thinking of this as something you are trying to stop doing. Start thinking of it as something that someone else does. Someone you used to be. Someone you are actively growing beyond. Because humans do not sustain behavior change through effort alone. We sustain it through identity. We do what we believe someone like us does. If you believe deep down that you are an addict trying to resist, you will struggle every day. But if you begin to build a new identity around discipline, around self-mastery, around someone who does not compromise his own development for cheap pleasure, the struggle changes. It does not disappear, but it changes. Because now the resistance to temptation is not a cost. It is a confirmation. Every time you choose differently, you are not denying yourself. You are becoming yourself. This is what Sung Jin Woo was doing in every single gate. He was not just gaining power. He was becoming a different person. Level by level, sacrifice by sacrifice, the weak hunter who was almost left behind ceased to exist. Not through a single dramatic transformation. Through accumulation. Through the patient, relentless work of choosing who he was becoming over who he had been. That is available to you. Right now, not someday. Not after you figure out your life. Right now, with the next choice you make. But let me give you something practical. Because transformation requires structure, not just inspiration. Your environment is not neutral. Every trigger in your environment is a vote against your discipline. Your phone at night, certain apps, certain times of day when you are alone and understimulated, certain emotional states. You already know what your triggers are. You have lived with them long enough to know the pattern. And if you are honest, most of your failures happen in the same circumstances repeatedly. So you do what any intelligent strategist would do. You change the terrain. You remove access points. You install friction between yourself and the thing that pulls you. Not because you are afraid of it, but because you are smart enough to know that fighting at your weakest moment against a system optimized to beat you is a losing strategy. The victory is not won in the moment of temptation. The victory is won in the decisions you make before the temptation even arrives. Set up your environment for the person you are becoming, not the person you have been. Charge your phone outside your room. Delete the apps. Build a physical space that reflects discipline. Surround yourself, even digitally, with content that elevates rather than drains. These are not small things. They are the infrastructure of a new identity. And then there is the question of time. Because every man who has struggled with this has noticed the same thing. Idle time is enemy territory. The moments when you have nothing demanding your attention, nothing requiring your focus, nothing challenging you, those are the moments the craving finds the door unlocked. So you fill the time, not with distraction, with construction. You are building something, a skill, a physique, a business, a creative project, a vision for your life that is actually compelling enough to compete with the pool of cheap pleasure. Because here is the truth. The reason lust is so powerful for many men is not just the biology. It is that their lives have not yet given them something more powerful to be pulled toward. When a man has a mission, something that genuinely lights a fire in him, something that makes him excited to get up and terrified of wasting time, the equation changes. Not because the temptation disappears, but because the cost of giving in becomes visible in a new way. Every time you are pulled toward the cheap thing, you feel what it costs you, not abstractly, concretely in the time you do not have, in the energy you cannot afford to lose, in the focus you need for something that actually matters. This is the deepest secret of men who have mastered this. They did not defeat lust by being stronger than the craving. They defeated it by building a life that made the craving irrelevant. Sung Jin Woo did not need to be tempted by a comfortable life in a safe city. He was called towards something so much larger that the comfort would have felt like a cage. That is the standard. Build a vision for your life that is larger than the escape. Build a purpose that makes discipline feel like loyalty to something real. And I want to talk about what happens on the other side, not in vague terms, in specific ones. Because if you cannot see what you are moving toward, the sacrifice feels meaningless. Within the first weeks, something shifts in how you carry yourself. It is subtle, but it is real. There is a clarity that starts to return. The mental fog that you may have normalized begins to lift. You notice that your focus in work or study sharpens. Your conversations have more substance. You feel less reactive, less irritable, less fragile in moments that used to destabilize you. Then something deeper happens. You begin to trust yourself again. You make a commitment, and you keep it, and your subconscious registers that. It happens again and again. And slowly the internal voice that used to say you cannot changes, because it has evidence now. Real evidence. Not someone else's success story. Your own history of choosing differently. This is where confidence is actually built. Not in how you look to others, in what you know about yourself, in the private record of decisions made when nobody was watching. That record becomes your foundation, and you will find that it affects everything. How you speak, how you carry disagreement, how you respond to failure, how you pursue the things that matter to you. Because underneath all of that is a person who knows from experience that he does what he says, that he can be trusted by himself, that he is not ruled by what he feels. That is power, real power, not the performance of strength, the quiet, settled, unshakable kind that comes from having earned it. Think about what your life looks like 6 months from now if you start today. Not if you try, not if you think about it, if you actually begin. 6 months of redirected energy, 6 months of building instead of consuming, 6 months of sending your subconscious the message that you are someone who chooses his future over his comfort, 6 months of becoming someone you actually respect. What would you be capable of? What would you be building? What conversations would you be able to have? How would you move through the world? What would the people in your life notice about you? This is not a fantasy. This is the direct and predictable result of discipline applied consistently over time. You are not hoping for a miracle. You are running a process, and the process works. It works because your brain is plastic, meaning it changes in response to what you consistently do. Every choice is not just a choice. It is a signal to your nervous system about who you are. Enough signals in the same direction, and the system updates. You are not fighting your nature. You are training it. And here is the part that matters most. The part that Sung Jin Woo's story underneath all the power in the Shadow Army and the gates is actually about. He did not become the Shadow Monarch despite his suffering. He became it through it. Every loss, every wound, every moment he was weak, every moment he was dismissed and left behind. Those were not detours from his path. They were the path. The resistance was the training. The pain was the instruction. And every time he chose to keep going when stopping would have been easier, he was not just surviving, he was leveling. Your struggle with lust is not a deviation from your story. If you use it correctly, it becomes the first and most important gate you clear. Because the man who conquers himself truly conquers himself. The man who takes full ownership of his desires and decides what he builds with that energy. That man is dangerous in the best possible way. He is capable of things that men who have never faced this challenge cannot access. Because he knows what it costs to build something. He knows what discipline actually feels like from the inside. He knows the difference between the man he was and the man he chose to become. That knowledge does not leave him. It becomes the bedrock. Your next chapter does not start when everything becomes easier. It does not start when the temptation disappears. It does not start when you feel ready or certain or perfect. It starts the next time the pull comes and you choose differently. Just once. And then again, and then again. Not because it is easy, because of who you are deciding to be. Every shadow soldier Sung Jin Woo ever raised from the defeated was a reminder that what once had power over him now served him. That is the trajectory, not the escape from what challenges you, the mastery of it.
The transformation of the very thing that was supposed to break you into the foundation of what makes you unbreakable. You have read enough. You have planned enough. You have promised yourself enough versions of this change without following through. The part of you that keeps coming back to videos like this is not weakness. It is the part of you that knows you are supposed to be more than this.
It is the part that refuses to accept the ceiling. The part that still believes the version of you that exists beyond all of this is real and worth fighting for. Listen to that part. Build for that part. Choose for that part. Every single day. And when the moment comes, and it will come, when the pull is loud and the old version of you reaches for the familiar escape, you do not run from it. You stand in front of it. You look at it for exactly what it is. A test. A gate. A moment that will either confirm the old story or begin the new one. And you make your choice with full awareness of what it means. You are not broken. You are not too far gone. You are not the exception to a rule that applies to everyone else. You are a person with the capacity for extraordinary self-mastery who has not yet claimed it. That is not a flaw. That is an unopened door. Walk through it. Not because someone told you to. Not because a video inspired you for 40 minutes, but because somewhere, underneath all the noise and the guilt and the cycles and the resets, you know exactly who you were built to become. And that person does not live on this side of discipline. He lives on the other side of it. The shadow was always yours. The power was always yours. The choice has always been yours. Now you know what to do with it. If something in this video reached you in a way you were not expecting, that means you are exactly the kind of person this channel exists for. The ones who are done settling. The ones who are tired of knowing better and doing worse. The ones building something real from the inside out. If that is you, you already know whether to stay or go. The ones who stay are the ones who are serious. Join them.